Today, we examine a perplexing cold case that has challenged conventional investigations and captured public attention. The enigmatic disappearance of Mahogany Davis has led investigators and observers alike to question every detail. In this exploration, we systematically review the facts, scrutinize the evidence, and consider the various theories put forth by professionals and enthusiasts. This narrative is presented in a clear and structured manner, intended for a general audience seeking a comprehensive understanding of the issues surrounding unresolved cases. Our formal analysis aims to shed new light on an old mystery. We present these findings with utmost precision and clarity. Cold cases refer to criminal investigations that have remained unsolved for extended periods, often due to a lack of new evidence or unresolved leads. These cases capture widespread public attention because they challenge conventional investigative methods and raise persistent questions about justice. In the context of Mahogany Davis's disappearance, the case embodies both the intrigue and obstacles of cold case investigations. The absence of clear evidence, contradictory witness statements, and an evolving timeline complicate the resolution of the mystery. Historically, similar cases have demonstrated that public interest can spur technological and methodological advancements in forensic science. Governments and private investigators alike often look to modern techniques, such as digital forensics and data analysis, to re-examine evidence that was once deemed inconclusive. Furthermore, media coverage and community outreach play significant roles in sustaining interest in unresolved cases. Documentaries, podcasts, and online forums provide platforms for discussion, potentially unearthing new perspectives. This renewed public focus often encourages law enforcement to revisit cases with fresh eyes and updated technologies. Therefore, the study of cold cases is not merely an exercise in historical inquiry, but also an opportunity to improve modern investigative practices, ensuring that unresolved mysteries like that of Mahogany Davis receive the comprehensive analysis they merit. These enduring investigations persist as reminders of the persistent struggle between justice and time. Every fragment of evidence, however minute, may eventually illuminate the truth hidden amidst uncertainties, fostering continual reevaluation of past conclusions and promising potential breakthroughs in long-standing mysteries. Each detail contributes meaningfully toward resolving pervasive enigmas. Mahogany Davis was a person of ordinary character whose daily routines belied the extraordinary mystery that would later envelop her existence. Born and raised in a modest community, she led a life marked by routine, yet punctuated by ambitions and quiet aspirations. In the weeks preceding her disappearance, Davis was known to frequent local establishments and to maintain warm relationships with family, friends, and colleagues. Her presence was characterized by a natural friendliness, and she was often described as thoughtful and reserved. On the fateful day of her vanishing, Mahogany's schedule appeared entirely conventional. She was observed leaving her place of work during the early evening hours, and subsequent reports confirmed sightings of her near a busy intersection. However, as the day wore on, all traces of her presence evaporated unexpectedly, leaving behind only scattered evidence and puzzled witnesses. Authorities reported minimal signs of a struggle in the vicinity, a detail that added layers of ambiguity to the case. As investigators delved deeper into Mahogany's personal affairs, they uncovered nuanced details that complicated the initial narrative. Interviews with close acquaintances revealed that while she appeared calm and collected, she had been coping with underlying stresses and unresolved personal disputes. Some neighbors mentioned that she had seemed distracted in the days preceding her disappearance, though no one could specify any concrete cause for concern. As the case unfolded, law enforcement meticulously gathered records, re-interviewed witnesses, and compiled every minor observation that might hint at her motives or subsequent whereabouts. Despite comprehensive efforts, the investigation reached an impasse. Key pieces of evidence remained inaccessible, and conflicting testimonies further muddied the theoretical framework. For several months, the case lingered in a state of suspended activity, with periodic re-examinations yielding little progress. Researchers and criminologists later pointed to the psychological profile of Davis, noting that her routine lifestyle could mask deeper complexities that no cursory evaluation had uncovered. Thus, the mystery surrounding Mahogany Davis grew ever more intricate, leaving the community and professionals alike in a state of persistent uncertainty and reflective inquiry. Subsequent reviews of the collected evidence revealed inconsistencies that puzzled even the most experienced investigators. Archival records, personal correspondences, and surveillance footage were re-examined in detail, yet each new piece of information only deepened the mystery rather than resolving it. Law enforcement officials and independent analysts debated the significance of minor discrepancies present in witness accounts and timing. The absence of definitive forensic data further complicated matters, prompting the formation of specialized task forces dedicated to cold case research. This collaborative effort sought to reassemble the fragmented narrative and explore unconventional investigative avenues, highlighting both the promise and limitations inherent in revisiting decades-old enigmas. Each inquiry into these gaps not only fueled debate, but set a benchmark for future forensic endeavors. Investigators employed a range of methodologies in Mahogany Davis's case, relying heavily on traditional detective work as well as emerging technological tools. Law enforcement meticulously analyzed physical evidence collected from the scene and subsequently cross-referenced it with historical data. In the initial stages, fingerprint analysis and photographic surveillance provided promising leads, yet these approaches failed to yield definitive matches. The limited availability of reliable digital records further constrained the inquiry, complicating the timeline reconstruction of her movements. Attention then shifted toward the testimonies of witnesses who recalled seemingly minor details that could later be reinterpreted as significant clues. Multiple accounts of ambiguous conversations, unusual behaviors, and inconsistent statements were documented during early interviews. Each testimonial was carefully evaluated for internal consistency and potential corroboration with forensic data. Investigators also reviewed phone records and financial transactions in an effort to uncover connections that might explain unexpected changes in her routine. Concurrently, theories began to surface regarding Mahogany's disappearance. One line of reasoning suggested that her sudden vanishing was not the result of an impulsive decision, but might have been orchestrated by individuals who shared intimate knowledge of her personal life. Another theory proposed that external circumstances, perhaps related to her professional environment, led to an orchestrated exit that was masked by everyday occurrences. Despite extensive reinterrogations and cross-checking of all available evidence, each hypothesis encountered significant gaps and inconsistencies that prevented a conclusive determination. Additionally, the absence of contemporary forensic techniques at the time of initial investigation hindered a more profound analysis of the collected samples. As new technologies emerged in later years, attempts were made to re-examine evidence previously presumed to be inconclusive. However, while these efforts did not immediately resolve the case, they reinforced the complexity inherent in many cold cases. In summary, the investigative process remained a multifaceted pursuit, constantly adapting to incorporate both age-old detective practices and modern technological advancements, all while grappling with the enigmatic clues that Mahogany Davis left behind. Further analysis involved collaborative efforts with external experts specializing in cold case resolution. Detailed reviews of case files, timelines, and environmental factors were undertaken. This comprehensive approach aimed to refine the understanding of events by aligning new digital forensics with archival data. Each anomaly noted during the investigation further enriched the evolving narrative, thereby deepening the investigative layers and broadening the scope of inquiry. These measures provided critical clarity and advanced the overall investigative framework. Other high-profile cold cases served to illuminate the multifaceted challenges inherent in solving long-unsolved mysteries. For instance, the disappearance of the missing sisters from California in the 1970s similarly left communities searching for answers. Despite thorough investigations, the limited forensic capabilities of the time resulted in critical evidence remaining undiscovered, echoing the difficulties seen in Mahogany Davis's case. Similarly, the notorious Zodiac Killer case, marked by cryptic communications and a trail of unsolved crimes, underscores recurring obstacles in linking evidence decisively to a single perpetrator. Comparing these cases reveals both similarities and distinct differences that have influenced current investigative strategies. In each instance, the passage of time has complicated evidence preservation. The absence of modern forensic techniques and digital records has hampered progress, while persistent public interest has nonetheless reawakened discussion and prompted renewed investigations. These cases collectively emphasize the necessity for innovative approaches that integrate historical data with new technological advances. Such comparative analysis reinforces the value of re-exploring archived details even when initial investigations stalled. By examining parallel cases, law enforcement has been able to refine procedural methodologies and adopt advanced forensic practices. The public discourse generated by these unresolved mysteries continues to shape policy and prompt allocation of resources dedicated to cold case reviews. In sum, the narratives of these historical cases not only resonate with the unresolved complexities of Mahogany Davis's disappearance, but also drive a broader movement towards enhancing the pursuit of truth in long-standing unsolved crimes. Lessons learned from these cases underscore the importance of historical context, modern technology, and collaborative research in solving unresolved mysteries. Each comparative insight enriches investigative strategies, facilitates resource allocation, and ultimately strengthens the pursuit of justice in cases where time has obscured the truth. This analysis bridges past challenges with contemporary solutions to ensure future breakthroughs every time. Recent advancements in technology and investigative methodologies have transformed the landscape of cold case investigations in significant ways. Digital forensics, data mining, and advanced algorithms now enable authorities to reevaluate evidence that was previously inaccessible or considered insignificant. The integration of these modern tools with traditional investigative techniques has facilitated a more thorough analysis of both new and archived information. Consequently, investigators are better equipped to piece together complex narratives, even in cases that have remained unsolved for decades. Public engagement has also played a critical role in this evolving landscape. Online communities, sympathetic researchers, and amateur detectives contribute actively by sharing insights and re-examining available data. Social media platforms and dedicated forums have become essential venues for discussion, allowing diverse perspectives to converge. This collective intelligence occasionally uncovers overlooked anomalies or connections that had escaped formal scrutiny. As these collaborative efforts grow, law enforcement agencies have initiated programs to incorporate community findings into official reviews, strengthening ties between the public and investigative bodies. Media outlets, through documentaries, podcasts, and investigative reports, have amplified public awareness of unsolved cases, ensuring that these mysteries continue to capture collective attention. By disseminating detailed narratives and expert analyses, the media fosters an environment in which every new development is subject to widespread examination. This process not only revitalizes interest in the case at hand, but also encourages a more robust allocation of resources, as updated evidence often prompts enhanced investigative scrutiny. In this continually evolving environment, the future of cold case investigations appears promising. The synergy between technological innovation, community engagement, and proactive media coverage continues to drive forward breakthroughs in long-standing cases, offering renewed hope for resolving mysteries that have long challenged both law enforcement and society at large. Enhanced collaboration and persistent determination now mark the standard for contemporary investigations, as every innovative technique and informed community contribution is valued. This progress not only streamlines investigative efforts, but also reinforces collective commitment to resolving long-standing cases with precision and integrity. These combined efforts underscore an unwavering dedication to truth, ensuring that every piece of evidence ultimately contributes to justice beyond all doubt. An extensive analysis of the unresolved questions in Mahogany Davis's case reveals several critical areas that invite further scrutiny. Foremost among these is the ambiguity surrounding the timeline of her disappearance. Recorded evidence and witness accounts provide conflicting indications regarding her last known activities. The apparent coherence of her routine contrasts sharply with the cryptic nature of her vanishing, prompting investigators to consider hidden factors. Questions arise surrounding possible anomalies in her communications, as well as inconsistencies in travel records that would otherwise paint a predictable picture. Moreover, forensic examinations conducted during initial investigations yielded mixed results. The limited availability of technology at that time resulted in certain physical samples being either underanalyzed or archived without comprehensive testing. As forensic science has advanced, retrospective analyses have been attempted but encountered obstacles due to degradation of old evidence. These limitations underscore why many dimensions of her disappearance remain elusive, even as modern methods promise to unlock details once considered inaccessible. Psychological evaluations of Davis's behavior prior to her disappearance add another layer of complexity. Reports suggested that, while she maintained a calm exterior, there were subtle signs of inner turmoil and personal dissatisfaction. Such evaluations lead investigators to theorize that her disappearance might have been influenced by internal conflicts or external pressures that were not readily apparent. The interplay between her personal circumstances and professional environment further complicates the narrative, making clear deductions challenging. Legal and procedural constraints also continue to hinder the case. Limitations in documentation and the passage of time affect witness reliability and memory recall. Legal standards applied during the initial investigation may not fully align with contemporary protocols, thus reducing the clarity of available records. Additionally, resource limitations during that period constrained the scope of investigative initiatives. However, renewed efforts and interdisciplinary collaborations have since endeavored to revisit these legal boundaries, aiming to reconcile past oversights with present-day advancements. Finally, emerging technologies such as DNA sequencing, digital reconstruction, and advanced surveillance analysis promise to offer fresh perspectives. Each of these methodologies is being applied to re-examine long-held assumptions about the case. The integration of innovative forensic techniques and psychological insights continues to refine the understanding of what transpired on that fateful day.